We're at Detroit Belle Isle for the Motor City 200 in RaceKraft V8 Vets. Yeah, supercars racing on a street circuit is always popular but challenging and leads to a high likelihood of safety cars and a high likelihood of strategy being the way to get ahead. So easy to make a mistake, and that's why we're looking at the best here in split 1 of 4 of RaceKraft V8 Veterans live on SimSpeed TV. It's David Haynes with Brock Cadday.
Good evening, everyone. We've also got one Mr. Daniel Yeaman in production here too at Belle Isle Street Circuit in the supercar. Very appropriate week to be doing this, considering the real-life supercars are heading to the Gold Coast to bash the curbs and see what they can make out of that Surfers Paradise Street Circuit. But here on the sim, we're focusing at Belle Isle in Detroit. A great little circuit, challenging, bumpy, grip limited in the United States. But let me tell you, in these cars, if you get the setup just right, you can really have some fun.
Here's where we are, just across the river from Canada. We're in the middle of the river here at Belle Isle. A little bit like Albert Park. It's a parkland with plenty of water, lots of other facilities around, like the conservatory and the zoo and whatever, and lots of facilities to have a nice barbecue, but a nice place to go racing. Pit lane is there on the short and curved front straight. Longest straights are then in fact between turns 2 to the braking zone at turn 3 and turn 6 alongside the water towards turn 7 next to the gigantic fountain at turns 8, 9, 10 and 11. The track switches around on itself, and then turns 12 and 13 at the end. You really try to flow your speed, but you've got to do it right up against the concrete.
Yeah, street circuits are full commitment, and Belle Isle is no different. You're tapping walls, tyre wall, concrete walls. You're really trying to maximize everything you can get out of every piece of track limit here. And mentioning track limits, well, if you meet them, you're probably in a wall at this track, because it is walls all around. Showing here, opened in 1982, and the final race for this track was 2022. So immortalized in iRacing, and we're lucky to be able to enjoy it here tonight with these supercars. So I'm sure we're going to be in for a really fun one. Yeah, I think we'll have a look at some of the strategies and the tyre gambling some of the guys will be doing tonight.
They could go back here. They haven't built a tram line down half of the racetrack, so I'd never say never for the moment. But it does seem like their circuit a little more in the heart of the city. It's ticking boxes commercially, and also letting the good people of Detroit have more access year-round to this beautiful park. So it is an interesting phase that we find ourselves in the season right now. After round 4, heading into round 5 here, Sean McNamara still leads the championship, but his gap was narrowed at Portimao a week ago by Jordan Ross. Travis Hunt, Jeff Thomas, the teammates there sitting 3rd and 4th. They've been consistent so far this season. Scott Gamble's in 5th, Michael Stewart in 6th, Justin McLean in 7th. Christopher Burridge has jumped up into 8th, displacing Robert Crisdale down to 9th, and David Nash has jumped into the top 10.
Yeah, not too much movement up the top there, but as you said, we've seen some good consistency from a lot of the top of our grid here at the moment. But good to see. Burridge has had a couple of good performances recently, so up into 8th there, and Nash in the 10th. But our biggest movers after that last round were Mike Taliantich up into 35th, and Scott Mackay up into 41st, so +5, and biggest shakers were Damien Cairns and Dan Hall, both -5 after last round's running. So we always see a bit of movement here, but as we always point out, David, it's a very tight-knit and close championship here. One bad result or one missed race can mean the end of it for you. However, we do have a couple of drop rounds that later in the season we'll get to look at as well. So after we get through this race here, we're going to be through the midpoint of this season, and just to look here at the point scheme as well. So this just illustrates how close it is, a matter of a few points between each position on track. Now, it does matter. Each one you get is really important, but it really just shows a couple of points is all in it, plus your bonus points as well. Your pole position and fastest lap each get you an extra point, but you have to finish in the top 10 for that fastest lap. 0x incidents in a race, +3 points. Lead in your lap, lead the most laps, and join our Zoom call each round, plus 1 point each. So just doing these little things make a difference and could jump you up in the championship.
Yep. Those are all the ways to accumulate points. I sat on those benches. There was an ice cream truck when I visited Detroit. Good times. This is our format. Things are going to get a little bit interesting from Belle. 200 kilometers is a long race on a street circuit here. It's 53 laps to be a classified finisher. 75% of the race distance. That is going to be 40. They only have one set of tires to use at the pit stops, but they still have to make 2 compulsory pit stops. So the smart money is one of the stops is going to be fuel only, starting with 50 litres and having an 85% tank size available. Fuel burn, you can actually save quite a lot, particularly if you're in traffic at a street circuit.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one here tonight. Now, street circuits are difficult to pass around, and Belle Isle really is no different to any other street circuit like that. So you're right, David. There's going to be definitely a little bit in saving your tyres with this one set at your pit stop available to you, as we're now just seeing some of these restrictions on screen as well. So as it says here from the supplementary regulations for tonight's round, drivers only have one set of tyres available to change at pit stops, but still have to complete those standard 2 compulsory pit stops. So what that's going to mean is a lot of tyre saving, using them sparingly and making sure you make moves when you need to, and potentially part of that will be a bit of fuel saving and backing off the drivers in front to preserve the heat in those tyres. So a bit more to play at tonight, a little bit more mind work to go as well as alongside the physical work of these V8. So I'm sure we'll be in for an interesting one.
Yeah, absolutely we will. Will there be some interesting little strategies at play, or will they follow the straightforward path, which is just take fuel at the first stop, and then at your second stop, take fuel and tyres to give yourself the best car to try to make some moves in the run to the end? Particularly seeing just starting with 50 litres, even if you go all the way to the end of your starting fuel, your first stop really can't come any later than lap 15. If you put your 4 new tyres on, then you've got a long run to get to the end. You maybe want to bring that tyre change stop a little closer to the halfway point, or maybe even back end it a little bit for a tyre offset and advantage, somewhere between lap 27 or maybe lap 35 or so. We'll do our best to keep an eye on what tyres are changing when it comes to the stops. That may be difficult though if everyone piles into the lane together underneath a safety car, which I am giving a statistically very significant chance here with how close the walls are at Belle Isle, even closer than at other places like Montreal or things that are ostensibly other street circuits like that.
You know what? I reckon that's a good bet to place there, David. This track, it's a lot tighter than other street circuits. To your point about Montreal and some of the other street circuits we raced, Long Beach as well, there are some wider parts of the track, whereas this one here really is, you've got to have some guts to get a move done in most parts of the track here because it is tight. It's a bit winding at times. You've got to carry some speed through and hold onto your grip as best you can through some double. There's a double left-hander towards the back of the circuit. Really difficult on the bumps to hold the car. So it'll be a fascinating race out there tonight. It's on the drivers out there to keep it clean, but I reckon up here in the comms box we're going to have some fun watching along.
Reckon we will. We can watch along with some of our drivers. Let's get to the Zoom wall and see who we've got and who'll also be earning some bonus points tonight. It's Spizzy, Race Smith, Luke Allman, Dean Flavel's doing a little bit of warm-up, and that's got him above 100 BPM. Travis Hunt's giving us that view again. Sean McNamara, the championship leader, looking just a little hot and sweaty. Scott Gamble there, and then Jeff Thomas also doing his warm-up. David Kirby is meditating, visualizing, something like that. Jonathan Gallen, alternative angle? Question mark? Christian Smart, Michael Stewart, Greg Sharp, Sean Vandermeulen, I think has forgotten his t-shirt, and Chad Lewis.
Always great to see our Zoom wall attendees, and it is a full house tonight. And to your point, David, I think Jonathan Gallen, that is a different view to what we're normally used to, so that'll be good to check in over the night. And Sean must just be feeling the heat of the pace in his V8 Vets field, and felt that going without a t-shirt tonight would help him lock in and get ready to take on these drivers he's going to be facing tonight. But great to see our wall of Zoom attendees here, and we'll check in with hopefully every single one of them as the night goes on and see how they're taking on Belle Isle.
Looking at the spreadsheets, where does it say Sean van der Meulen is from? Oh, Gippsland, Victoria. Okay, must be a bit of heat down there. Wayne Sanderson is our reigning M1 used cars driver of the day. We'll see who nabs that prize here from Belle Isle. I think it might be more challenging on track to make as many overtakes as he did last week, but I can see a unique strategy launching someone from outside of the top half of the field and into a top 10.
Yeah, completely agree. And Wayne did a great job last week at Algarve. Completely different circuit to what we're facing tonight. But as you said, we'll see where he's starting tonight, and we'll see where he can finish up. A unique strategy and a bit of luck around a street circuit can really change the way things go.
They're getting ready to go to the grid, and so are we. This is how it's going to look. Jordan Ross, in his pursuit of back-to-back-to-back championships, is starting on pole from the championship leader, Sean McNamara. That's a spicy first row of the grid, with Scott Gamble and Dean Logsdale behind. Row 3 has Wayne Walker and Scott Mackay. Row 4 is Luke Allman and Sean van der Meulen. They don't call him Shirt van der Meulen, that's for sure. Mike Taliancic, 9th, with Logan Barnett in the grayscale livery now in 10th. Travis Hunt starting from 11th with Ray Smith in 12th. Here's Greg Sharp in 13th and Jeff Thomas in 14th. Lon McKee in 15th. Michael Stewart, perhaps deeper on the grid than we might have thought, in 16th, but qualifying on a street circuit is always so challenging to land that perfect and magic lap. Brad Doble starts from 17th. Justin McLean keeping his retro livery on in 18th as well. And Dean Flavel is 19th, just 1 second behind the pole sitter, with Mark Poynton in 20th.
Then we've got Christian Smart out of 21st and Wayne Sanderson out of 22nd. Reese DeGoey out of 23rd and Chad Lewis out of 24th. Gary Buckland out of 25th and David Kirby out of 26th. John Gallen out of 27th and Andrew Rushworth 28th. Rounding out the top 30 here will be Robert Crisdale and Brian Minogue. Then we've got Halil Cesar in 31st and Stacey Boyd in 32nd. Dan Hall in 33rd and Matt Brunt in 34th. Scott McCune out of 35th and Darren Goosey out of 36th. And that will round out our field here tonight. So a strong 36 car field here to take on Belle Isle in this 200 kilometre race here, with the changes to strategy, and as you mentioned, David, a spicy front row of the grid with Jordan Ross and Sean McNamara, Scott Gamble and Wayne Walker in behind as well. They're all looking to potentially take advantage of any sort of moments that happen on this opening lap, and it's a straight circuit, so you can never predict it.
Spicy back row of the grid. Where's 36th place Darren Goosey sitting? It's like only our top 10 are on the front straight. The rest of them are around that kink. And we'll take a look at someone in the 30s, like Stacey Boyd or Dan Hall, or there's Buckland back there. Darren Goosey. Yeah, 36. That's actually not so bad. There's a small kink, and then, yeah, almost everyone else will be able to get ready and going. 200 kilometers begins now. Ready to go for a short run to turn 1 and turn 2, a long run down towards turn 3. Jordan Ross on the pole position. Logsdale from 4th place has jumped the start, bogged down, and now he's losing more spots. So Logsdale, long hold, has been caught out on the race start. No worries for Jordan Ross or Sean McNamara or Scott Gamble, except for that bump on the exit of turn 2. But once you get the car over there, it's full on flat out, full throttle, down towards turn 3. A big braking zone underneath the horse statue. Wayne Walker and Luke Allman have made up some spots. Logsdale's lost 2 and will have to serve a drive-through. Big car park coming at turn 3. They're 2 wide. They're 3 wide. The track remains clear for the moment. A few drivers have cut the chicane. And Halil Cesar and a few towards the tail end of the field will get going again without any significant damage. Oh, it's happening up at turn 5, though.
Yeah, we're hearing race control light up at the moment. Look at this side by side in the back of the pack here through turn 5 onto the back straight, turn 6 onto the back straight, excuse me. Oh my goodness, we're 3, nearly 4 wide contact side by side. We're around on the back straight. There's 2, 3 cars all around. They're dodging left and right. There's a 4th that's nearly around. Oh my goodness, that might have been Andrew Rushworth who nearly went around there, but we have got absolute carnage here on the first lap of round 5 of the V8 Vets. Race control channels lighting up again, I'm sure. Looks like most cars are going to get going, but my goodness, Dave, have you ever seen anything that crazy? 4 wide on the back straight at Belle Isle. That is nuts.
Yeah, I have seen something that nuts before, but not lately. 4 wide on the back straight, and the driver that came out wrong side of it predominantly was Brad Doval. He got spun hard into the concrete. Dean Logsdale comes in to serve his jump start penalty from 4th. And Michael Stewart, I think, has a bit of damage on as well. So it's even too early for the compulsory pit stop window. But with the damage and everything they've got going on and the penalty, those 2 drivers are going to come through the pit lane. For every winner, there's a loser. Michael Taliancic has been into the wall on the exit of turn 3. That causes a big check-up here as well.
It's part of the danger of street circuit racing is when one person has an issue, so do the 3 or 4 people behind them, and luckily most drivers look to have gotten around him, but he's lost a couple of positions out of that now as well. Doesn't look like there's too much damage to his car, so he'll carry on. Obviously we're not on board with him, so we can't quite tell if the steering's out of whack, but the outside looks quite nice. Yeah, that's still looking pretty straight. Obviously it's a little hard to tell because this back straight is a little bendy here at Belle Isle, but it looks like still in pretty good nick. So might have gotten away with one there, but certainly has buried himself a little bit deeper in the pack and is now in this little conga line of cars we've got going around through and into the final sector of this racetrack.
Brad Doble also needing to get some repairs, but no one's made a compulsory pit stop yet as they come around. The window should be open. We've stayed green despite some of the damage, everyone getting going. There's pit entry to the right there. You can make a late dive and not give anyone else the time to respond. Liancic just in behind. Greg Sharp here going into turn 1. Car placement very challenging for turn 2. You've got to take such a late apex because of that just little jump of elevation.
Yeah, and getting under throttle here, as you mentioned, David, that car placement getting under throttle is really difficult. Talianch is down the inside of Greg Sharp here. Sharp making it easy, and Mike has already started his charge back up through the pack after that little incident last lap. So that will put him back up into what will be 11th place now. As now we're looking at Scott Mackay, who is leading, as I mentioned last lap, this conga line of cars behind him, which is the battle for 8, but does stretch back to Mike Taliancic and Greg Sharp, who we were just watching before in that 12th to 13th area. So Mackay, massive gap up ahead of him at the moment, nearly 10 seconds to the next car, likely part of that carnage we saw on lap 1, but now he's got to pull out all the defensive stops. This track, yes, it's a hard one to pass at, but when you've got that many drivers that are ready to go past you, you really need to think about how you're going to take this race. So I would hate to be in Mackay's shoes at the moment because I'm sure he is just trying to keep the thing straight at the moment.
Two medium speed corners here. Little bit of camber to be had up against the curb, but then the car wants to wash out and slide, and there's no extra spare runoff, just concrete. And another lap completed. Top 2, Jordan Ross and Sean McNamara skipping away. McNamara's got the fastest lap of the race, not letting Jordan Ross waltz away as he's done at some other occasions. Gamble in 3rd with Wayne Walker just behind. Luke Allman was very successful on those opening laps, picking up 2 spots, one from Logsdale and perhaps one from Scott Mackay. Logan Barnett up 4 spots. from 10th to 6th. And when positions are hard to come by on a street circuit, that kind of a race start, it's very, very positive. It looks like Jordan Ross trying to break the slipstream on the back straight, also just trying to set himself up for the braking zone here. Not afraid of the apex curb either.
We know these supercars, they don't mind a curb or two in a street circuit race, that's for sure, David. But Jordan, yeah, just not able to shake McNamara, and I'm sure he would have preferred that, as we're on board in sim and in real life with Sean McNamara here in his 9.5 Sim Sport car. So this is coming through the last, couple of turns of the circuit here, and Ross looks to have enough speed, but just can't quite shake McNamara, and a bit of the draft is helping there, but we know how fast McNamara's been as well in the early parts of this season. So right now, it's probably going to be a bit of, we're very early in this race, we're just crossing over onto what is lap 5 now, so it's going to be a bit of tyre management, fuel management. We talked about this all before the race. Get to that first pit stop and see how you feel. Do you want to do tyres in the first stop, second stop? How do you feel your pace can be? It'll be quite interesting to see how these go, as a few guys are just peeling off and getting some stops done early as well.
Yeah, a few drivers, I think, a little just like frustrated with where they sit in the pack, and they're just getting that first pit stop out of the way. So Poynton, Chris Dale, I also had David Kirby and Gary Buckland do that. Makes sense.
Starting to see the first of the penalties come through from lap 1, where there were a few incidents to unpack for race control there. So a points penalty for Brad Doble there for the incident with David Kirby, who we were just talking about then. So, but looking at our leaders here as they're just settling in for the long run. A couple of 100 kilometres here at Belle Isle. No easy matter on these bumps and these curbs and these tight walls. But as we can see here, they're just keeping it fairly safe. In the background though, Scott Gamble is well and truly under pressure from Wayne Walker at the moment, right on the bumper there coming out of the last couple of turns. So Wayne Walker, I'm sure, will be looking to try and sneak past Gamble where he can, although we know Scott Gamble is one of our better defensive drivers in the championship, and if he can hold on to a podium, he will, and he will fight tooth and nail for it.
And a bit of rev limiter action happening in a couple of places, reminiscent of these cars heading up in towards the cutting at Mount Panorama. And there's quite a few big packs that have formed. Travis Hunt leads one in 12th place. Dan Hall's at the head of one in 21st place. Oh, and then, yikes. What's going on with this? Jeff Thomas having a bit of a go at Scott Mackay potentially.
Yeah, very much trying. We talked about it earlier. Street circuits in general, Belle Isle is no exception, are hard to pass around, and you have to take your opportunities when you can get them, but getting the move to stick, not a lot of room to make the move, can be difficult. So Thomas has lost a bit out of that and has now brought in Ray Smith and Talianchich to his bumper as well. So Mackay will get a bit of a reprieve here, and Thomas will just have to find his bearings again. Already up 5 on the night, so up into that top 10 where we typically expect to see Thomas at the moment. We talked about his consistency this season earlier on in the broadcast, but now just trying to work his way through this snake of a section of the track, but no overtaking opportunities. It has just got that bit of breathing room he needs from Ray Smith to take a breath and worry about his setup for these last couple of corners.
Yeah, a couple of key bumps in places around here. Exiting turn 11, braking and turning into turn 12. You've got to be so careful crossing over the bumps. Steve Flavel's into the pit lane from inside of the top 20, so he wants out of that. Dan Hall's in. A couple of cars had just started passing him. Wayne Sanderson had gotten past. Now Hall, Stacey Boyd, Brian Minogue, some others. Oh, and Hall had picked up a bit of damage. I don't know how long that had been on the car.
Yeah, easy to pick up around here, very easy to tap a wall and just damage a bit of the car, but on these cars it can make all the differences. Now we've got Gary Buckland, who's actually pulled off into, I think, what is the turn 3 runoff. missing the front end of his car. So not sure what's happened there. Fairly likely this one will escape without a safety car because he is right in the runoff there. We'll see what happens. But a few drivers are in the pits already. Buckland has just called for a tow as well.
Yeah, already a lot of damage, and then maybe we're seeing he's just like, nah, I'm out of here, and he pulls it into the runoff, and then the horse will pull him out of there. Did read the history of the man on the horse in the statue?
I personally didn't, but what have you got for me, Hainsey?
I forget the name, but the man was a Civil War general or something of some kind, and he had basically the same horse for the whole time. And one time a shell went off in the mud, blew him and his horse like 10 feet in the air, and then they kept doing military man on a horse stuff. They were all good.
Now that is deserving of a statue at Belle Isle, if you ask me.
The horse has got a name too. I'd have to Google it again to know. I think there's a couple streets around here in Detroit named after the same guy. Alright, so Gamble and Walker third and fourth. That's where we look at right now. I think this type of racetrack suits Wayne Walker. If you think back to last season and some of the wins that he took, first one that comes to mind is Portland. And there's just a tiny bit of street circuit about the way you navigate the first chicane there, and then also the back chicane where you're up against the concrete and then turn into a quick flick and parts like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen him be strong at these street circuit. These tighter tracks that require a bit more commitment and real precise driving. Wayne Walker definitely has a bit more pace. That we've seen Walker kind of come good in the recent couple of rounds as Logan Barnett just gives the wall a little kiss there on the exit of turn 2, really pushing hard here to try and get past Luke Allman. But it's curious to see, we've got a couple of these little battle packs here that are just 2 or 3 cars at a time in some areas, that the guy behind is just struggling to get that run to get past, because even our longest straights on this Belle Isle street circuit they're curved, or part of them are braking zones. It's really hard to get a draft strong enough to really get up alongside someone to get the pass done. So we'll watch here for Allman, who's gotten a good run out of there. So is Barnett, both as close as you want to get to the wall. Curving, winding through this back straight here, but again, there's just not enough time to get a good run and get up alongside. You've really got to rely on the guy in front of you to make a mistake to then get that move done around here.
Barnett's within the car length here. Sometimes you can be very brave and look to the right-hand side, braking into this hairpin here, but I think Allman was just sort of middle of the road. Barnett's not going to do anything too crazy this early in the race. Continue to get a trickle of other drivers pitting. Chad Lewis is now the highest running car that's completed one of the compulsory pit stops. Then Dean Flavel and Robert Ridsdale. A lot of them are taking this first stop on the early side, thinking that if a safety car then comes out and they can make their second stop under safety car, they'll be good to go, and something that we commonly in RaceKraft V8 Vets call the Long Beach situation.
Wait on that safety car, jump a bit of the field, get some track position and run from there, if I'm not mistaken.
Because if you've made one of your compulsory pit stops, but most drivers haven't, and the safety car comes out, and they make one stop on a safety car, you make one stop on a safety car, you're good to get to the end, but they're still going to have to make one more green flag stop on a racetrack that's tough to pass. They make that green flag stop, and even if they're coming back at you, it'll be difficult for them to get by you. So the earliest that you can get your compulsory pit stops cleared can be very beneficial on a circuit where passing is difficult and when a safety car is likely, and those are 2 things that we often think about with a circuit like this.
No, very, very true there. We've just seen Scott Mackay also duck in, so a couple of guys a bit further up the field are starting to take that first pit stop in and around that early to even stint that we saw in the previous graphics. So very interesting to see. Obviously, there'll probably be an idea of getting a bit of an undercut here if you're stuck behind someone and feel like you have a bit more pace to try and get out there. I'll be curious to see how we go here, because we're not too far away from what would be that first pit stop. And right now, looking at guys like Allman and Barnett, having raced Belle before, the pit entry is also a bit of a nightmare. You duck straight off the track with a really short braking zone to get in. So if you've got someone behind you who wants to come in, I'd expect to see some very close calls there, trying to get a pack of cars in when they reach the end of this first stint.
First stop, the undercut might not be that powerful though, because
they don't take tyres.
And they do add fuel, depending on, if that's the strategy. But if you're bringing your first stop very early, it feels like it would be foolish to 10 laps into the 53-lap race, take your new set of tyres then and have none left for the remainder. Greg Sharp, Christian Smart, RaceKraft V8 is this group.
Sharp back to where he started. We saw him a little bit further up towards the 10 before, but a couple of guys have managed to weasel their way through. But he's back where he started. Christian Smart up 7 positions and just carving little bits and pieces out of Greg Sharp every lap at the moment. Now very much a target in the crosshairs for Smart here to try and get past the next few laps and make up yet another position, which will make it +8 if he can work his way past Greg Sharp here. Again, as we've mentioned, not an easy task, but there are places you can do it with a good run here. So we're going to watch them come through the final sector of the circuit here. This will be the second last turn. You can see the pit entry there, coming through to the last turn on what is this weird front straight that goes into turn 1. Might really be an opportunity for Smart here. Here we go. We're on board with Greg Sharp and Christian Smart. This is what we want to see. The two guys in action, wrestling supercars around Belle. They come through turn 2 there. Smart has got a fairly good run. Might look to the inside here at turn 3. He is. We'll see if he goes for the move there. He's going to brake hard and late, and looks like he'll get that one done. That was an excellent move and really great to be on board for.
Yeah, I think that's how you do it. He gets by and up into 13th place, just off the back of that group with Smith and Talyancic and Travis Hunt. Jeff Thomas looks like he's broken away from that a little bit. Talyancic is also trying to come back through the field where possible. So RaceKraft, it's taken 29 seconds of fuel. There is a bit of variation at this first stop. Kai only took 23, Chad Lewis only took 19, but there's a lot of drivers that have taken something approaching sort of 25 to 30 seconds of fuel, which again would benefit them if the safety car came out shortly. They'd then have a quick stop and quick run through the lane and be hands washed of all of the fuel drop and compulsory pit stop, etc.
Yeah, I think this is where that single set of tyres comes in, isn't it? That you've really got to be careful about when you pop them on the car, because we know these things can eat tyres, and obviously that's a bit dependent on the circuit and that sort of thing, but you've got to be careful about when you take your compulsory pit stops and when you take those tyres as well, because it can really make a difference, and you can be really strong in the early part of the race and then just fall off at the end. So we're looking at Dean Flavel, our Dino Dino at the moment, who's in a bit of a battle here. Got a bit of distance back to Chris Dale and Michael Stewart, but very much, I'm sure, still feeling the heart rate at the moment. We saw Chris Dale last week involved in some pretty crazy battles, and Flavel himself has taken a pit stop as well. So as you were saying, David, about that 25 to 30 seconds in the box, he's taken 26.3. He's third, as you can see on screen, third position of drivers who have pit so far. So we're still yet to see quite a few of our drivers come in, but Dean Flavel in third on track of those who have pitted. So he's putting himself in a decent position here, leading a little pack of cars as well, as Wayne Walker from fourth comes in.
This is odd for Michael Stewart, because while he's taken 27 seconds of fuel, he hasn't taken a compulsory pit stop yet, as he pitted at the end of lap 1 before the window was open. So it'll still save him time when he comes to make 2 more compulsory pit stops, but he will have to make 2 more compulsory pit stops, and he's amongst these drivers that have all made 1 here. Yeah, Walker in from, it was about 4th or so. Andrew Rushworth also comes in. It's 26 seconds of fuel for Walker. And he'll be well ahead of that pack that we were just looking at as well, which is probably what he's aiming for. To have half Detroit to himself, which you can do these days.
A dream, some might say, to have half of Detroit to yourself. But Walker, he was a bit stuck behind the likes of Scott Gamble there as well, and we saw him not really dropping off the back of Gamble. So this might be all he needs, depending on what tyres he's taken, if he's taken tyres, to just get the edge on Gamble and jump him as well. So having that clear track is really beneficial. As we're looking at Jeff Thomas again here, who's engaged in battle, really hasn't really had a rest this race.
Ray Smith's got by him. Taliancic is pressuring him now. Somewhere a lot. Oh, really pressuring him now. So, yeah, they're both going to dive to pit lane, and then Taliancic thinks against it as Thomas comes in. Luke Allman comes in. So I think there's going to be a drama for Jeff Thomas here. In deep, rear locking, just keeps it off the wall, but Ray Smith on the racing line does go by him. And that's about when Michael Taliancic smells a tiny bit of blood in the water as well. Wayne Walker leading the cars at a stop. Luke Allman's just behind him. This, yeah, look at the train begin to go by as Jeff Thomas comes out. Scott Mackay goes past. Chad Lewis group's going to have Hellel Cesar rejoin just amongst it as well. So there's another pack just forming up. Cesar not going to be at speed. Reese to go he is. And they're behind Brad Doble and Mark Poynton heading down towards turn 1. Race leaders are going to come into the pit lane. Looks like Cesar inside line just holds on to that. So Ross, McNamara, Gamble all coming in. Logan Barnett coming in. Everyone is at the end of lap 15.
And this is where we expected the fuel tank to run out with that starting fuel, so they'll likely top up. We'll see if some guys put some tyres on, potentially just try and get some fresh boots on, or drag these things a bit further into the race. So, as we can see, lap 16, everyone's fuel's gone that hasn't already pitted. They'll start dragging themselves in. Matt Brunt will go around as the exception to several, potentially saving some fuel as he's gone around a bit deeper in the pack. Jordan Ross is out of the pits now, excuse me. So most have pitted. Matt Brunt hasn't. Potentially a fuel-saving expert with that to take his car 1 lap further, but on board with him now down to the turn 3. We'll see if he pits this lap and hopefully doesn't run out of fuel.
Shorter stop from Jordan Ross versus Sean McNamara, significantly. 5 seconds shorter stop for Jordan Ross, who's 7 seconds up the road from McNamara. So how that one unravels key to the race. McNamara, if he can close in to within 5 seconds of Jordan Ross, could get it back at the second pit stop.
Or if there's a safety car a bit deeper in this race.
Yeah, depending on. I don't mind that from McNamara if he wasn't making any imprint on track. Just make sure you absolutely load up that fuel. And then maybe even run deeper in this middle stint to see exactly how late you can take the new set of tyres. Or maybe you look to sort of 10 laps from now and go for an undercut. Strategically, a lot of options should still be open. Not sure we've got any confirmation of anyone who has taken new tyres at the stop just now. So now this is everyone with one stop made. Jordan Ross had the race lead still. Sean McNamara through in second, just ahead of Wayne Walker in third. So Walker has jumped Gamble by stopping 2 laps earlier. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I mean, as you said, we can't quite tell with the telemetry we've got at the moment who has or hasn't taken that set of tyres, but whether Walker has taken them to get that jump on Gamble and be a bit closer to McNamara, that'll be interesting. Interesting to see how that all pans out, and that we may see the reverse of that later in the race if Walker has taken his tyres there. Wayne Walker, okay, that would explain the difference there. So Wayne Walker had about a 27-second pit stop, so he did really need a bit of time on McNamara in the pits, as well as a bit of that undercut there. So interesting to see there. There we go, just on screen you'll be able to see that pit box difference between the two of them. But Walker's looking very racy at the moment. Certainly isn't letting McNamara run away after this pit stop cycle has been run and done for the first stop.
And it must be said, no one came out of their pit stop and started smashing down lap records. Jordan Ross gets his first flying lap since his pit stop, and it's a 32.7 compared to his best of a 31.3. Everyone's still about 1.2 seconds away from PB pace broadly through most of these packs. No one in the 132s, which is where I think where new tyres would take you. I mean, from drivers outside of the top 10.
Yeah, very good point there, David.
Tell me.
Yeah, you're very right there. Most of the lap times are showing, as you said, about that second off the pace through the top 10. No one absolutely breaking their own records or lap records. So it looks like we're just settled into this middle stint. Will be a bit of managing these tyres. I'd imagine trying to just make it through to when you can put some new boots on these things and get them to the end, keeping in mind that we've mentioned the bumps, and the bumps in bad places at this track already make it hard to get the power down in these things, let alone when they're going to be on some pretty average tyres by the end of this middle stint. So don't be surprised to see some guys come in. You mentioned it earlier, David, during our strategy screen, come in a bit earlier, get that fuel on board and push through to on those new tyres for the second half of the race. We're back looking at Dean Flavel with Dino Dino coming through now off the back straight. Battle for 15th at the moment. In the background, we're seeing it all happen. Michael Stewart under pressure again, not having an ideal race here, but managing to just hold position.
Lap 18 is the critical lap number. Lap 27 is about the halfway point. So somewhere between now and the next 8 laps, you could make that second pit stop. Could be in trouble if you take it too early, and then there's a safety car that bunches the pack and everyone's on much fresher tyres around you. So you got to balance that. There's some risk to be had. This pack is ferocious though, no doubt. There's a couple of packs that are now formed up. Now everyone's made their pit stops. This one with Michael Stewart in it in 18. Matt Brunt came out ahead of a group of drivers as well. Your top 10 have all found themselves a little bit more space. That's a tough ask otherwise for everyone else. $110 on the Dino Dino for me. I don't know what you think, Brock.
I'm going to go 107. He's looking relaxed out there.
Drum roll, folks. Oh, Hank, hey. Okay, nice work, nice work.
Thank you, thank you. I promise I don't have a direct line to Dino himself. There you go. I reckon we call that a draw, David, because his heart rate's all over the shop at the moment. Depending on the turn, we could have both gotten it right.
Yeah. So Ooh. Yeah, just a kiss on the concrete, that'll happen. Flavel stopped after 6 laps. Robert Crisdale stopped after 4. Michael Stewart stopped at the end of the opening lap. Then you got Cesar and DeGoey behind at the back of this group, ran a bit longer, 11 and 14 laps into this one. Gee, the way that it sits right now with all of these packed up groups of drivers, at 30 laps to go on lap 23, you could tempt me with a new set of tyres, I reckon, because take a look here at Flavel, for example. His PB in this race, at the start of the race, was a 1 minute 32.5. His last lap at 33.7. It doesn't look like the tyres are getting easier. It doesn't look like he's getting quicker. So if you're a bunch of these drivers behind him, look at, say, Poynton, 3 cars back, 1 lap of undercut would jump you 4 cars, then you'd be ahead of them. And if it stays green, gee, are they going to have a difficult time passing you? That's what we're seeing here. Even cars that have eaten up their tyres a little bit more, so long as they recognize how much grip they've got and drive with that much, they're typically able to hold position. But here's a pass on track between Talyancic and Vandermeulen. So Tally's gone ahead.
Yep, making good progress here. He seemed to have some pace under the bonnet of that thing all race long, making some passes. Despite a small mistake, he's now +2 on where he started. So, just gotten past Vandermeulen there, keeping the airflow nice and free is Vandermeulen on board with him now and his zoom cam. So Vandermeulen is still where he started in 8th spot, still very good in this competitive field we do have here in Vets. So very much locked in and focusing in his sim rig there with his SimSpeed gloves as well. Trying to get a bit of speed to get back up to Talyancic, but as I said, I think Mike Talyancic just, he's got something tonight and the car is really working for him. We've seen that being able to work through the pack a bit.
First driver to make their second compulsory pit stop, Lorne McKee, is in. He came in from about 31st or so, I thought. So note that one down. See what kind of a monstrous undercut he can or can't achieve. Yeah, still two laps too early for me, but I was thinking about it. Here's big damage and slow for Scott Gamble. Logan Barnett and Luke Allman are all over him. Gamble in 4th, but losing time.
Be interested to see if he comes in here with that damage there and what happened there. He'll peel off into the pit lane here, but that's some pretty serious front-end damage for Scott Gamble, unfortunately, and he was in a position where he probably could have fought for a podium. Very unfortunate to see there. And clearly off the pace once he's lost that front end, that downforce, potentially some steering damage from contact that could have caused that.
So he's got all the bits on his car until he approaches the somewhat curved braking zone at turn 7. Big lockup, marbles. Thinks he can make it, but he can't quite, and he knocks the front off the Camaro. We know that's actually kind of easy to do, but he just thought, gee, I'm in a bit hot, but surely I can still make it. But no, a clobber of the wall. Then does it get worse, or was that like the lap before? My.
So it looks like it's just that contact there with the wall. Bumpers dropped off. Gamble is back out there now. Speaking of another bumper to drop off, Travis Hunt. And I believe he was just making some moves up the field a bit. I thought I saw him in 9th place, but now he's dropped back to 13th. Now we're on board with him here with his on-board in-car cam. We're going back to Travis Huntception. And he's got Chad Lewis behind him as well, but Hunt with that front end damage, likely trying to drag this thing to the pit stop number that he wants to make, and then he will pit and get that damage repaired, but surely can't be easy without a front bumper on one of these things.
Logsdale's also coming to make his second pit stop. Remember that Logsdale started 4th on the grid, but jumped to the start. Travis Hunt stays out with whatever's going on with his Ford Mustang. but there's a couple of drivers taking their chances on an undercut right now. Who else did we see pit? Lorne McKee. We haven't had a flying lap yet out of him to see if there is a couple of seconds of magic in a brand new set of tyres. For the race win, Jordan Ross is still keeping 7 seconds ahead of Sean McNamara. Anything more than 5 seconds ahead of McNamara, I think, is where Ross needs to remain. So just a quick look at some of the cars that are deep in the field but have their compulsory pit stops cleared. Dan Hall, 35th. Lorne McKee, 33rd. Dean Logsdale, 31st. Scott Gamble's the highest of them right now in 28th. Definitely seeing that the tyres are becoming challenging, particularly that braking zone at turn 7 is beginning to catch people out. Just a little kink on the way in, and then you've got to decide very early, if you're getting in too hot, do I go straight on into the runoff, or do I think I can make this corner? And a couple thought that they could make the corner, and they couldn't. 30 to go now is about when I feel like makes the most sense for your first stop. I mean to say, is how I'm thinking. And here goes Chad Lewis down the inside of Travis Hunt at turn 3. Tidy. You've got to be careful not to cut too much of that curb. I've seen some slowdown penalties from it. Lewis climbed all over it, but it was just about right, and it moves him up into 13th place. Selection through here. Lewis goes down to 2nd for the tight right-hander. Pretty short ratios, so before you know it, 3rd gear, 4th gear, back down to 3rd. Oh, tiny bit wide, tiny bit of oversteer, kiss the concrete. Just another little mark. Same hunt back there, and leaping in for their 2nd pit stop comes Robert Crisdale and Mark Poynton. They are looking to frog leap with an undercut juiced.
I liked the connection there, David. That was a good one. Nice little pun there. So we're starting to see a few of those first pit stops come in at the moment, and as you mentioned, David, just reaching this middle point of the race, do you risk it? Do you throw it in? Do you try and get an undercut? Get the little bit of fuel you need on board, get that fresh set of tyres and get going again. And look, you got to give it to Travis Hunt here. He's trying to hang in despite the fact the front of his car is missing to just get to where he can put some new tyres on this thing, get that fuel on board and make it to the end. So it's a bit of an ugly looking thing, but he's making it work best he can at the moment.
He's missing some straight line speed though, vulnerable at the end of the straight there, vulnerable into turn 3. That's where a couple of them have been getting him, and with that congestion, yeah, Poynton and Crisdale went, I'm out of here, and they will be ahead of Logsdale. So I think the 2nd and 3rd cars to have cleared compulsory pit stops, they've ended up quite well placed by the looks of things. Scott Gamble on that strategy though, beginning to encounter traffic, but I think that'd be an interesting one to watch because his new tyres versus everyone around him. Can he make moves, neat them up? I think he's past Rushworth and Gallen. Now he's in behind Scott McHugh, Stacey Boyd and Darren Goosey, who haven't stopped yet. It's interesting for Gamble here. Even on the way down to turn 1, he's gonna go past McHugh. That's the grip difference
Wow, that is night and day, isn't it? And I mean, that's some guts there from both of those drivers to go side by side for a turn. That's typically only one line when you're in these cars. So well done by Gamble. He's really trying to make these tyres work for him early before he loses that edge off a brand new set. So we'll see what he can do out of this. Still a long way to run here. We're just knocking on the door of that halfway mark, and he's really trying to make some moves early, make up some time, and see if he can still land around that top 5 despite a bit of damage earlier on in the race.
The thing for him, though, is he was battling Wayne Walker for third effectively, and Walker with the clear air. Is Gamble really undercutting him much at the moment in this traffic? Next car in front of him is Stacey Boyd, and then Darren Goosey. A couple more drivers coming in as we're approaching. I think basically for the leaders, just crossed the halfway point of the race. So I had between lap 23 and lap 27 as my ideal sort of pit to undercut, box to overtake the car ahead type of strategy window. But it is a little more complex than that. See here, definitely being held up by Stacey Boyd.
Might see another crazy move from Scott Gamble here. Nope, he's going to stay in behind, not quite alongside, so definitely not the place to throw a move, but very much wanting to get past Boyd, and you can see where that pace is at the moment. So Gamble is just marginally slower than Walker, which means he's not making time up. So there you go, Boyd has left the door open for Gamble to throw it down the inside there, as he will, and make up that position. So while Gamble is still working his way through, that timing of the damage he got definitely wasn't ideal for his race, but he's still trying to work his way through at the moment. And honestly, his pace, considering he's trying to pass cars, it's only 2 to 3 tenths laps slower than Wayne Walker, so not too bad, but certainly not undercutting him and trying to jump him for the next pit stop.
So McNamara versus Walker here. Walker's just been with him this whole time, this stint. McNamara took 4 seconds more of fuel than Walker, 5 seconds more fuel than Jordan Ross. So McNamara is okay with a bit of field compression heading into the second pit stop, which Scott Mackay and Justin McLean have gone for. Chad Lewis as well. Dean Flavel as well. It's an increasingly popular thing to do, is take your second pit stop and take your second set of tyres.
Yep, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be rejoicing with getting that second set of tyres on for the race. You don't realise it until you do a couple of stints in these things just how much the tyres do wear. And I'm thinking after this set of pit stops that we can see there's a few of them will come in. Justin McLean, Scott Mackay, Dean Flavel and Chad Lewis, who you're really going to start to see some increased pace from after this stop with the fresh tyres. It'll really make a difference. We've already seen Scott Gamble has brought that pace too. So expect the bar to raise a little bit for this last 24 odd laps of this one.
Allman's going to come in from 4th. Darren Goosey had a bit of a moment earlier on this lap. I think just managed to stay ahead of Stacey Boyd and Scott McCune. For everyone who hasn't taken their tyres, they're now 28 laps old, past the halfway point. Maybe it's time to think fresh. Gallen also closed on the sort of McCune-Boyd group. And that is an alternate angle of him.
Can I just add, what a diverse sim racer. He's got his rig there, he's got his boat in the background, a man with many hobbies there. A good, unique and different view of John Gallen as he comes through turn 3 at the moment. looking very much locked in, as per usual, where we're used to seeing Gallen very much focused on what's ahead of him on the road here. But yeah, nice to see a different view. Maybe next week we can get a different one from him.
Need more than a gallon of water to put that boat in. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Walker is in, so he's now looking to undercut Sean McNamara potentially, having already done it to Scott Gamble.
You know, you mentioned earlier, David, that Wayne Walker's got a bit of pace around these street circuits, and he's shown it by staying close to McNamara. Like, he's not willing to take the risk of a pass if it's not going to be pulled off, but he's certainly willing to manipulate the strategy in his favour and see if that speed can benefit him if he can get to a clear part of the track. So we'll see where he comes out here, but we'll be curious to see if a couple of fast laps gets him to jump over those around him. And he has come out clear here, so he's got a bit of track to work with. Come out in 7th. I wonder if we'll see a couple of fast laps from him now on fresh tyres to test that undercut.
Yeah, he has been just clear of a lot of the traffic. So yeah, Goosey, McCune, Gallen, Rushworth, Allman that haven't stopped yet. He makes his and gets out just ahead of them. And of course, he is still ahead of Scott Gamble by about 8 seconds here. How gripped does it look right now? Going to close in on Reese DeGoey very rapidly.
Yeah, be curious to see if that tail's wagging about at all. But I mean, he can just keep the line so much tighter than DeGoey. Look at the way he can place the car. As I say, that gets on the marbles and pushes wide a bit there. But yeah, Walker's definitely got a lot more grip than DeGoey at the moment. Is able to do what he wants with the car, which is exactly what you'd expect out of a brand new set of tyres. So look at that gap. He's also closed up. DeGoey's going to peel off here to the pits, freeing Walker to continue on as he was and fire around the circuit for another lap.
Genuinely think McNamara needs to react to this, because with the pace differential and the fuel differential, if you let this go just 2 laps, I suspect Walker will undercut you by that 4 seconds that he needs to, and you might lose second place if you let this undercut go unchecked and allow Wayne Walker to pull 4 seconds on you.
Yeah, completely agree there, David. I think that right now McNamara's going to be thinking behind him and not in front of him. I mean, I know there's probably there's a want to catch up to the lead and try and catch Jordan Ross. As I say that, David, he's heard you, he's heard us, he's also pitted with Jordan Ross there. So now we'll see where this all shakes out. Walker's had a bit of time to get some pace under him, but now the 2 leaders, first and second in Jordan Ross and Sean McNamara, are in. McNamara has the shorter fuel on this one, which will bring him closer to Ross, but shouldn't jump him over Ross, considering the gap on track when they came in.
Yeah, it was about 8 seconds, so we'll see if the gap is less as they leave. Ross should be almost done here. There he goes. And McNamara not too long after. And it's Walker. 4 seconds back. About right, has a slide over the crest of turn 2, but keeps it out of the wall because he's not a GM executive.
You know what? I can appreciate the reference there. I remember that one. Was that the course car or something? A car ended up in the wall there at Detroit back in the day.
Absolutely
right?
wrote off one of the pace cars and delayed the start of the IndyCar race by like half an hour as they had to clean up a gigantic incident. I was like, oh, which idiot just wrecked that Corvette on the pace lap? Oh, it's now like the Chevrolet Sports Performance CEO or something. Sharp 24th, Lewis 25th, the same lap. These guys are going all the way to the end. Most drivers are now. We've seen the second compulsory pit stop from almost everyone. Same from Sean van der Meulen now. Just need... Oh my gosh, goodness me. Michael Stewart still needs to make 2 compulsory pit stops.
I was just looking at that, David, on my timing and thinking, surely that's a mistake, because he's the only guy in the field who hasn't taken his compulsory pit stop yet. So that he's just, as I say that, it looks like he's just come in now. But yeah, he's 31 laps on this set of tyres, so he's going to have to do 2 pretty quick fire stops unless the telemetry we've got in front of us is incorrect. But that will begin to...
He pitted at the end of lap 1 because of the damage that he had, and he fueled up then, but it was before the compulsory pit stop window. So he fueled up, but he hadn't made 2 compulsory pit stops. He's now made 1. Dean Logsdale had a similar issue where he had the drive-through at the end of lap 1, and then made his 2 pit stops relatively quick succession. So he made his second compulsory pit stop 10 laps ago. He's up into 21st now that a couple of other 20th now that a couple of those other drivers make those stops.
Yeah, so just seeing the end of some of those first lap incidents and what that has meant for some of the guys in the field now. So we're pretty well cleansed here, just about at this point in time. So looking at Logsdale as well, unfortunately down 16. As you mentioned, David, after some of those moments in the earlier laps, and now looking at Greg Sharp as well.
Lewis
So we're just cruising through.
So he might have cut that turn 3 a little bit too much. McCune still needs to stop. Luke Allman's made his. Sean McNamara gets a new fastest lap of the race in his pursuit of Jordan Ross. Oh, McCune is coming into pit, presumably. Yep.
On board with Allman here. He would have been happy to see McCune jump out of the way. McCune, I'm sure, feeling the pain on those old tyres. And now Luke Allman, we've seen him be in the wars a little bit the last couple of weeks, and now he's got a very decent result ahead of him in the top 5 here. And Michael Stewart's just received a meatball with repairs required as well. So while we've been on board here with Allman, Stewart has... Something has happened to him. That front left and has met the wall or another car at some point, and his car is unfortunately very much damaged there, and it's just a bad to worse situation for Michael Stewart.
This could be it, Stewart. Oh, he's overshot his pit stall too. Ouch. Ouch. Ouch.
Yeah,
it's gone down off the tracks. Let's take a look. So turn 12. Rear locks. Big time. Oh, no wonder.
Geez, an unfortunate one there for Stewart. Just looks like he's locked up and got a bit wide there. Hit the wall, and then someone else has collected him on the way through as well. So the car, by the looks of it, is unfortunately parked in the pits, and we just heard has 15 minutes of repairs as well. So he's going to park it for the night by the looks of it. Very unfortunate for Michael Stewart. Just has not been his night here at Belle Isle in Detroit. And the walls bite hard here when you make a small mistake, and that is the case for Stewart.
So Justin McLean in 9th has 7-lap-old tyres. Jeff Thomas behind has 5-lap-old tyres. Thomas did race around a little while with a bit of damage on that car, I thought. Travis Hunt did. Last lap. Thomas just taking a tiny bit of time out of McLean. Positions gained now that we've had most everyone make their 2 compulsory pit stops. Robert Crisdale, solid effort, is plus 12-ish by the looks of things. McLean plus 9. There were times where the numbers very flattered Dan Hall. But he had a really long second stop. What happened there? 2:51.
I think he had some damage on the front end. I saw that may have impacted that as well. I'm going to go back and have a look at a replay of Dan Hall. Speaking of, he might have had a... Oh, yep, he's outbraked himself there. She's trying to do a flick spin. That's all good. So, a small mistake. Easy to do down there at the end of the straight. Locking the brake and going into the runoff area. That was on lap 25. But no damage to report there. We did see a bit of damage on him throughout the race. So, it might have just been the walls are bitten. Potentially a bit of damage to repair. And that's put him down a couple of laps by the looks of it.
We'll look deeper into the crystal ball to the issues for Dan Hall. I've just seen Lorne McKee pass Travis Hunt, who's now been shuffled all the way to the tail of that group. I think Boyd and Goosey also got through. Oh yeah, this is the ongoing issues right now for Travis Hunt. That's live pictures, by the way. Ugh. Yikes. Not a happy car.
Yeah, definitely seen Travis Hunt is another one of our drivers tonight here around Belle Isle. It's just one of those bad to worse situations. Anything bad that could happen has happened to Travis Hunt. But we're going to flick to a better news story here with Logan Barnett and Mike Talianchich both up positions on their starting. Logan Barnett up 4 and Mike Talianchich up 2, battling hard here for 6th place. With still a number of laps to go, you know, we've still got a way to go here, but Talianchich isn't waiting around. He wants to continue his charge up. Barnett a little bit wide there now. To come around this cambered, almost hairpin right turn that'll take you into the last couple of turns of the circuit. Luke Allman just up ahead of them here. Let's see if Talianchich can get a run and make something happen. It won't be through the last turn or one and 2, but you set this up to try and get through at turn 3. You've got a bit of a straight to get a draft out of turn 2. Heavy braking. We saw Christian Smart do it earlier. And again, Talianchich trying to set the run up through turn 2 here. We'll see what he can do. We've just heard in the background Travis Hunt will retire the car after that damage we saw earlier. Talianchich not quite close enough. Barnett a little bit stronger through turn 1 and 2, and it'll stay line astern as we crack on with this 38th lap around Belle Isle.
So it's still 30 cars on the lead lap. Small lap here on Belle Isle. McNamara was closing in Jordan Ross initially at the start of the stint, and then Ross has put his foot down, pulling that out to almost 4 seconds now. Actually, even keep an eye on Wayne Walker to maybe come back towards that. Closest cars inside of the top 10 are Barnett and Talianchich, and McLean and Jeff Thomas, where McLean is in fact quicker on the last lap, suggesting this might be opening up a little bit. Thomas looked like he had a fair chunk of wheel spin in turn 9 there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, McLean has been one of the drivers of the day today. Just he's worked his way forward methodically through some passes, avoiding incidents, and does seem to have some great race pace. So he'll continue on, as you mentioned, David, a bit faster last lap as well. So he'll just keep on doing what he's doing and try and maintain that. We're going to look at Christian Smart and Scott Mackay now. Mackay has not had the easiest race, and Smart has again been one of our biggest movers of the day, up 9 on where he started in 12th, Mackay behind in 13th. But, Mackay just scraping the wall there out on the exit of turn 2. Very easy to do here at this Belle Isle circuit, but very much looking racy and wanting to potentially drag back one of those positions he's lost on Christian Smart here. But Smart, by name and by behaviour, is a smart man. He's great at racing, at passing, at defending in his Fishy Motorsports car.
In 2018, GM executive Mark Royce crashed a $123,000 Corvette during the Detroit Grand Prix at turn 2. So there's the stat on that one for getting it a little bit wrong with your bow tie at turn 2.
I appreciate the effort to go and find that one. I was wondering if you'd have the name, and I couldn't remember it for the life of me, but there you go. The internet, it leaves all these things living on. As in the background, we're actually seeing Logsdale and Gallen battling it out here. So Logsdale working his way through by the looks of it and getting a move done there. Excuse me, that was defense from Logsdale as Gallen was trying to make his way through. So
we could have 10-lap newer tyres here. Logsdale was very aggressive with the undercut, understandably, because he basically went to the very tail of the field with his lap 1 drive-through. And I was like, well, I got to do something. And he did plenty to elevate himself from sort of 35th position to the 18th that he runs right now. But everything has a cost to be paid, either at the front end or the tail end. And that's why I'm not an AFL list manager.
I know as much about being a AFL list manager as you, mate. I just enjoy watching the game. I know nothing about anything that goes on behind the scenes, but John Gallen, I'm sure, would have been a bit frustrated there, getting stuck behind someone on potentially older tyres, and would be wanting to make his way through, and Gallen has had a decent run here, up 8 as well. And we're going to flick here to this battle with Greg Sharp, Chad Lewis, Wayne Sanderson and Andrew Rushworth. A tight pack battling to claim a place in the top 20 of this field of 36 cars. As Dan Hall is in the wall and crabbing down the back straight.
I'm not sure it's actually crabbing. I think he was just doing burnouts. I think it was sideways because the rear tyres were lit up. He had to flick it around. He was 180 backwards. And that was, coming onto the strand. More damage on the nose. And wide marbles. Traction, there is none. Backwards.
And
so this is when you thought he was crabbing. Keep an eye on this. He's just like... Argh.
Look, honestly, it was a beautiful call by you there, David. He was just giving it some smoke, giving it a burnout. So I thought he's done, he's crabbing, but nope, he was just having some fun with it. So Dan's gonna duck into the pits, seemingly having a few issues with that car. Anyway, perhaps the rear tyres are a little warmer, but we're going to flick to Luke Allman, Logan Barnett, and Mike Talianchich. This battle pack for 5th has tightened up significantly. Barnett just giving a little bit of love to Allman, and Talianchich behind. Talianchich down the inside. Barnett out on the marbles. Talianchich will get through there. Maybe a little bit of contact, but that's Mike Talianchich up into 6th and now chasing down Luke Allman in 5th. Barnett definitely not giving it up just yet, though.
Yeah, so Talianchich and Barnett looked like both were catching Luke Allman, and just as that happened, a tiny error from Allman checks him up. Talianchich dives through and into 6th. There's some spice left on the aisle. Vandermeulen caught them last lap. I suspect the stats are gonna say caught them this lap. So 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, together here. Fastest of the lot of them was Vandermeulen back there as well. Taliancic passing Logan Barnett.
Be curious to see here how Taliancic goes. Just look how much he's caught up on Ullman already. So, well, we've been saying it a lot of the night. We've seen that pace from Taliancic. Even after he had a moment earlier on, he's just managed to drag the car back up again. So on board now, as we come through onto the back straight here, and see if he can make a move. Doesn't help getting oversteer if you want to get a run on the guy in front of you. He's really wrestling the thing, but don't think we'll see a move here, but very much putting the pressure on Ullman and trying to make something happen through here. And we did see last time Ullman made a slight mistake, which is where that sort of concertina effect happened into this section we're watching at the moment. So Barnett and Vandermeulen definitely not out of this, but Taliancic looking to make a move and drag himself into the top 5 of this race here in the last sort of 10 laps.
Now I'm sort of frantically looking at the timing, being like, is there anyone, I think now, with the power of hindsight on the other side of it, might have taken their tyres at the first stop instead of the second? Happening here now, Taliancic, might there be still some feeling with himself than Logan Barnett, as Barnett got a better run on the exit of the corner. And the Dino Dyno, the heart rate might need some resuscitation.
Yeah, he's had a tough night. We're going to go to a replay here and just see what's happened with Dean Flavel. And he's having internet connectivity issues by the looks of it. Part of the game here with iRacing, but flashing, and it looks like actually race control has sent him to the pits with connection issues. Very unfortunate for Dean. Which is iRacing has implemented that recently. If you have connectivity issues for enough laps, you'll get sent to the pits, and unfortunately Dean Flavel has been the victim of that. But we flash back now to this battle between Ullman, Taliancic and Barnett, with Vandermeulen close behind. Taliancic still just close as ever, just about kissing the back bumper of Ullman with little bumps there, but not able to get past, and Barnett right on the back of Taliancic. So it is anyone's game here for 5th place with 9 laps to go next time round. And I tell you what, all it's going to take is a slight mistake to open up the track and make something happen here.
Yep, 10 to go. Jordan Ross leads by an ever-increasing margin, heading out towards 10 seconds. Wayne Walker's closing in for that spot in 3rd. Scott Gamble sits in 4th ahead of this. Ullman a tiny bit wide out of turn 2. Taliancic, if he can get to the inside, is positioned perfectly. He's going to want to look for a car width there, and Ullman goes, all right, if that's where you're going, that's where you're going. Taliancic down the inside at turn 3, moves ahead, trying to sneak through. Big hop of the curb from Logan Barnett. He wants take 2 on this one in the next corner, and he'll get that. And then Sean Vandermeulen will be next to try to line up Luke Ullman. When it rains, it pours.
Yep, absolutely. And Ullman had done a good job up until there, but Taliancic just got the run. Barnett took advantage of Ullman being a little bit out of place there, and unfortunately that has spelled the end of that top 5 for Ullman. Now Ullman and Vandermeulen behind Barnett, battling to see who can stay in position to where they're qualified and who will drop 1 and gain 1. So we also have the vet standings up on the right hand side. They're just showing where these positions will land our drivers after this race here, and as you can see, Ullman and Vandermeulen in their current positions have had really good races that'll bounce them up into that top 10. So even if they stay line astern, even if they pass each other, that's going to be good there. But Logan Barnett as well, really lighten up the rears, coming around to the second last turn. So still pushing on, thinking he might have a chance to snag a top 5 out of this one.
Lewis has had a close call with the wall. Greg Sharp now close behind him. Sharp's been the one under pressure with Wayne Sanderson and Andrew Rushworth behind on newer tyres. You know, the slower speeds of a street circuit are often not tire eaters. Something about this surface and the race length and all of that does feel like a bit more Rushworth wide out of the last corner there as well, just tagging the wall. What kind of problems is Sean McNamara in? He's hurting for time badly. Wayne Walker has gazumped him here. McNamara has gone from 1.1 seconds behind Jordan Ross after the pit stops to nearly 15 seconds behind, hemorrhaging time something ridiculous. He's not happy. Is he missing speed in a straight line here on throttle?
We'll see. This will be really telling out of turn 2. He even just seems a bit slow through these turns here. He's not looking comfortable. Something's not right.
Looks like he's stubbed his toe or he's got gastric indigestion, or that's the kind of face he's making.
Yeah, the steering's all straight and everything, but yeah, something's not right.
It's like you tried to feed him, you know, off milk.
Yeah, another look there. It's like it's bad smell of his nose sort of thing. Yeah, he's dragging this thing to the finish, and look how much time he's already lost on Wayne Walker as well. I mean, not just Wayne Walker, but as you mentioned, David, Jordan Ross. Like at one point, he was within that 1.1, 1.2 of Jordan Ross, and is now nearly 15 seconds off of the lead when we thought he might have a chance to bring this thing home. So McNamara in some sort of distress by the looks of it, just trying to drag this car home. Still a few laps left to go here. I mean, Scott Gamble with 9.5 seconds. I would expect that McNamara can bring it home, but even just, he looks slow out of the corners, doesn't he? It's not quite what you'd expect of a supercar around here.
Rate that he's going in the 134s, he actually needs to worry about Scott Gamble in fourth place catching him at about a second a lap with 7 to go. Who's parked by the side of the road there? Doble it is. Well, that's on the run between turns 2 and 3 on the right hand side. Hang on here. Hang on for a moment. There goes a bunch of the other drivers like Taliancic, Barnett, Luke Allman, Sean Vandermeulen, and Jordan Ross leading the way at the moment.
McNamara showing some frustration with the potential of a safety car looming over his head if he is missing a bit of pace. And safety car is on the move in pit lane, as you can see there. We're just waiting for the official call. Safety car has been called with what are we 6 laps to go in this one. The field will be compressed. Wayne Walker will be on the back of Jordan Ross. McNamara with Gamble with oodles of pace in hand on the back of him for the podium. We've got ourselves an absolute show here, David.
Now, you saved your set of tyres for this probability, right?
Oh, I wouldn't have thought of anything else. Why would I use my set of tyres before now?
Yeah, so not a whole lot of strategy options, but it will compress the field. A late safety car at Belle Isle in RaceKraft V8 Vets. Jordan Ross's 12-second lead to Wayne Walker evaporates. Is this good news or bad news for Sean McNamara? It'll eat some of the clock, but it'll bring quick guys like Gamble, Taliancic and Barnett behind. Doble's... Something else has happened before that, right? Because that's just gone wide out of 2. He's clonked the wall. Still on board.
Potentially, maybe a tech issue or something like that, just to stop on track. He's trying to keep going, and maybe it's just he's hit the right angle on the wall, and it's stuffed the car enough that he can't keep going. But certainly something to make him think he's got to stop. Or potentially, yeah, a tech issue that's meant he's just wanted to stop the car and get out of there.
It's like he revved it in fourth and it didn't go anywhere. So did he knock like a half shaft out of it or something somehow? Because it kind of like looked like he went in the wall, but it was still going, but then it didn't. Sure. Okay, so with a late race restart, who's got the freshest tyres in the field? So last pit stop lap, bigger is better. Reese de Goey, interestingly. Could be an interesting place to watch in between the teammates here of Poynton and Crisdale. I'd also pencil in Wayne Sanderson 21st as one to watch. Is this good for Michael Stewart? No, he's retired, so no. Could be good for Dean Logsdale.
I think the biggest loser out of this will be the likes of McNamara, who seem to be dropping pace. You know, you look at his last lap before we come round here, and he's seconds off the likes of a Gamble or a Walker that are around him. Even a Taliancic and Barnett, like they're all faster behind him too. So McNamara has got his work cut out for him here. We're just looking at Hella Cesar there as well, coming around to take his lap back. So the safety car here now. Jordan Ross, pace setter of the race. He's been leading the thing from the start. Really, really dominant. Wayne Walker has worked his way +3 positions up into second and has been showing good pace. In fact, his fastest lap, Wayne Walker's fastest lap, is not even a tenth slower than Jordan Ross. So expect to see potentially some battling going on there. But McNamara in third, and that RaceKraft retro livery, that's the one to watch, I reckon, when we come in. Safety car comes in this lap and we go racing again next lap.
So has his sour milk gotten better for Sean McNamara? No. Looked up at the timing screen, looked down, shook his head, still not pleased.
Yeah, you gotta think, is it a tech issue or something? Like, because we have seen McNamara all season has been a pretty cool player no matter what's going on. Shows a bit of frustration, but every turn to be showing that level of frustration and confusion, you got to imagine there's something a bit more going on there. But it could just be, as you suggested earlier, it might just be he's run through the tyres. Maybe he's running a different tyre strategy to what we expected everyone else to. It's a bit hard to know, but this here will show us, and maybe he will give us a defensive masterclass as we head towards restarting. But certainly got some guys who are hungry for podiums. We've chatted Scott Gamble on the podium earlier this season. We haven't had a chance to chat to Mike Taliancic, Logan Barnett as well. So there are some guys here who'd be hungry to make up some positions and land on the podium that we can have a chat with later on. But we're just hearing the safety cars moving away from the field, and they will restart very shortly.
We'll be restarting with 4 laps to go. Jordan Ross in the best seat with Wayne Walker just behind him. Sean McNamara managing something in third. Scott Gamble up into fourth. Michael Taliancic, Logan Barnett, other drivers to watch on this restart. Justin McLean, Dean Logsdale. We'll see what happens. Safety car is in. Jordan Ross is waiting. And Jordan Ross is going. 4 laps left. It's, in fact, Scott Gamble a little on the back foot on the restart. Got Michael Taliancic all over him, crossing the start-finish line, going into turns 1 and 2. Turn 3 will be the action zone on this restart, no doubt. As the whole field work their way over the crest of 2, onto the long straight, down towards the big stop at 3, and McNamara is losing time already. Down the inside, looking for a podium spot, comes Scott Gamble. into third place on Sean McNamara. They're side by side, and it's a good exit around the outside for McNamara, but he's going to run out of room. Taliancic also wants a little bit of that. He's looking 2 for 1 here, and so now already on the restart, 2 spots down for Sean McNamara. Gamble's up. Taliancic is looking super racy.
Yeah, wow, definitely something going on with McNamara there, but Gamble and Taliancic wasted no time, and they're through. McNamara in the background is pulled to the left-hand side, but we're going to watch here and see, and Barnett is actually already through on McNamara in the background. Gamble's going to stay on the racing line from Taliancic. Taliancic sticking with him over. Barnett is now through in 5th place. So, Scott Gamble, after all of this, has worked his way through.
We could see a change of the championship lead here. Just 4 points right now between Jordan Ross leading the race and Sean McNamara dropping through the field. He's got not a lot of straight line speed. He's got not a lot of drive off the corners. It's like he's only getting 80% throttle or something. Because through the corners, I don't think he's losing as badly. But once they get here, suddenly it drops. He's losing. Maybe it's 95% throttle, but still, had it cost you a bit of horsepower, a bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see here from McNamara with the likes of Orban and Vandermeulen behind how this works, but Orman's not worried about McNamara. McNamara seems to be maintaining speed okay here, but Orman's more worried about, as we look from the back of McNamara's car, Vandermeulen trying to get past him. So all it's going to take here is McNamara to lose another spot or 2, and Jordan Ross will take the lead of this championship. So it really has to be all or nothing for McNamara to maintain the lead of the championship. He's done well so far this season. We're just hearing 2 spots, and it'll be tied at the top at the midpoint of the season. So there is a lot to play for here, and it seems that McNamara is losing on the straights. That is the weakness at the moment. But we'll hold position here, although Allman now a lot closer than what he was earlier on. And we're going to flick to Gamble with Taliancic putting all the pressure in the world on him to try and snag a podium out of this one.
Maybe Sean McNamara got Brody Kostecki's old pedals. It's a slightly more focused face from Scott Gamble. His grapes are neither sweet nor sour. He knows that it's only 2 laps left to try to fend off Mike Taliancic. Jordan Ross nails in a new fastest lap of the race. Oh, which, yeah, is some points too. That's another swing from Sean McNamara to Jordan Ross. Now McNamara loses 1 more spot on the track. Things are tied. Oh, Taliancic breathing down his neck. Luke Allman getting closer to Sean McNamara as well. 2 to go. I don't think this is the complete weakness of McNamara here through the staircase, but it'll be exiting onto that back straight. If Allman's close enough, I think McNamara won't have any way to defend. So McNamara gets the full throttle, and from there it's about when he just seems to be lackluster and sluggish.
Yeah, completely agree. And albeit that on the restart, it looked like McNamara had more issues than now. He seems to be able to hold the pack behind him a bit, and it might be that through some of these windier, more technical sections of the circuit, that he's able to hold his position, just gain enough to not have someone get past him, as Vandermeulen was looking down the inside of Allman, just seeking for an opportunity. But McNamara has got an almighty line of cars behind him as he tries to hold on to 6th place in this and the championship lead. As we can see, only 2 points in it, another position, and he could relinquish this thing. So he's trying hard on the final lap to maintain this position, maintain the championship lead as we cross the midway point of this championship.
Jordan Ross is doing all that he possibly can. He leads. He's got the fastest lap in his back pocket as he starts the final lap of the race. 2 seconds clear of Wayne Walker. Scott Gamble with Taliancic and Barnett, and here's a chance from Vandermeulen. He's thinking, Luke Allman, if you don't get on with this, I'm going to have to get on with this, and maybe that's what saves Sean McNamara's bacon. Smith with a slowdown from cutting turn 3, I think there might just be able to get rid of that. Christian Smart is ahead of him. Scott Mackay is behind him. About on the back straight for the final time as McNamara got pace. Luke Allman's just not close enough after what happened at turn 3. Gets a tiny bit of a nudge going into the corner from Sean van der Meulen and keeps it between the barriers. Surely from here, I think you can nurse whatever you've got to get home.
Yeah, so
Jordan
McNamara's
Ross
done
is
really
headed
well here.
for the checkered flag. He's just been about perfect. Qualified on pole, starting back up front, taking the race win, getting his championship on track, closing the margin. Walker and Scott Gamble are going to be on the podium. Michael Taliancic and Logan Barnett there. And where's the McNamara train coming out of the final corner? With Luke Allman, Sean van der Meulen, Justin McLean and Jeff Thomas as our top 10. McNamara loses a couple spots with that late restart. Just manages to stem it towards the end.
Yeah, crazy race to the end there. We're going to see a few more cars come across the finish line here, but really McNamara putting in a good effort to maintain 6th. Here we go. Greg Sharp coming across the line as well. Look, that one there, that late race safety car really threw a bit of a spanner in the works for a few of our drivers here and ended up giving an opportunity to some guys to get up a bit higher in this race, make up some more positions. And, man, you know what, David, you predicted at the start of this thing we'd have a safety car. I expected it to come earlier than what it did, but it came in the end. And we're just going to look at Scott McCune here, who looks to have locked the rears. Oh, and had contact as well there with car 273, excuse me. That was Mackay, sorry. So very late race incident there. And McCune looking a little worse for wear as he tries to come to the start-finish line. But for the leaders, Jordan Ross very much out ahead, Wayne Walker second, and Scott Gamble, despite some issues there, and McCune, speaking of issues, having one of his own, bringing it back home in 3rd.
No rear wing, overheated rear tyres, some other suspension damage going on for Scott McCune right at the end there. Chaos, perhaps, with a late safety car at Belle Isle, but just the one of them. It's perhaps a little unders on everyone's predictions. Jordan Ross wins from Wayne Walker, Scott Gamble in 3rd, Mike Taliancic in 4th, Logan Barnett in 5th, Sean McNamara, Luke Allman, Sean van der Meulen, Justin McLean and Jeff Thomas. It's the top 10. 10 positions gained for Christian Smart to finish 11th. With Ray Smith behind him in 12th, Scott Mackay, Mark Poynton, Reese DeGoey, Robert Crisdale, Dean Logsdale, John Gallant, Chad Lewis, and Wayne Sanderson. 13 gained from Crisdale there in 16th.
Then we've got Andrew Rushworth in 21st and Stacey Boyd 22nd, plus 10. Darren Goosey in 23rd, plus 13. Brian Minogue 24th. Halil Cesar in 25th. Greg Sharp 26th and Lorne McKee 27th. Scott McCune, who we did see have that issue before, in 28th. And Dean Flavel 29th, plus 3 laps. And Brad Doble as well, who caused that safety car with some issues there, plus 8 laps in 30th. And now we get to some of our drivers who had some struggles earlier on in the race. Dan Hall in 31st, Travis Hunt 32nd, Michael Stewart 33rd, David Kirby in 34th, Matt Brunt 35th, and Gary Buckland 36th. Some drivers there we would normally expect to be up the point again, but Belle Isle bites in it, and it bites hard there.
Sure does, and it makes things so close in the championship fight. Jordan Ross taking more points out of Sean McNamara, who started the season with a bang, 2 race wins on the trot. I'm not sure you actually can park a ute like that. But what do I know? I know that we can speak to some of our podium. Scott Gamble came home in 3rd long part of the race, it didn't look like that was going to quite work out for you, Scott, but you got back to that third place.
Yeah, how you going, David? Yeah, I was a bit lucky. Very unfortunate for Sean. He had obviously something going or fuel issues. I wasn't sure because he had a very short second stop, so maybe he had some fuel issues. But hey, if a safety car come out, we only got one here, one safety car. Well, that's pretty good, really, isn't it? You know, so it did favour me, and it was good at the end. You know, with Tally, like he was coming pretty strong. My tyres, I think I had like 10 or 9 lap older tyres than him, and so he definitely come on strong. He sent a message that he nearly died. He was pushing that hard at the end, so it was good. It was good to see Tally up there. He drove really well, and you know, apart from that, it was pretty mundane race for me, you know, but we got around it, and that was the main thing, guys, you know.
Just the 50 litres starting fuel would have made it very difficult for anyone to do the tyre change at the first stop, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the guys in at ERT came up with a few strategies, a few scenarios at the start of the race because I didn't have any. So I listened in quite intently to what they were saying and what they were going about, and it did seem like, hey, don't take tyres early, you know. So that was the plan, and I was planning on, you know, so I came in, took a heap of fuel, took 60 odd litres, I think, maybe 65 litres in the first stop, didn't take tyres, and I thought, yep, let's run pretty long here, you know, at least halfway through the race. But, you know, lapse of concentration, I put it into the wall, I had damage, car was pretty bad, and so then I had to come in and pit in, I think I did 32 laps on the last stint. So, yeah, I was vulnerable definitely towards the end of the race, but yeah, good fun otherwise, you know, so had to look after those tyres to get there.
Well, congratulations on that one. Found yourself a bit of traffic to the middle stint, undercut some of it, then the tyre differential came back the other way. You grabbed third place. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, guys. And, you know, thanks to ERT. Unlucky Sean, like he drove really well. He probably deserved to definitely be up into the podium. But, you know, he'll be happy with P6 to consolidate where he was. Well done to Jordan and well done to Wayne. They're driving incredibly well. So it's nice to be up around the guys, you know, even if they were a fair way in front, if it stayed green. But, yeah, good fun. Thanks, guys.
Third place, Scott Gamble on the line. Second place, Wayne Walker is with Brock Cadday.
G'day, Wayne, and welcome back to the comms box. It's great to see that your season's picking up for you, mate. Look, talk us through that one. It seemed like it was a game of patience and pace for you. How did you feel out there?
Oh, I felt pretty good. I didn't have the pace to stay with like Jordan or even McNamara, but yeah, in the first one I was up behind Gamble, and I come in a lap or two earlier than him, and I got an undercut sort of thing and was able to sort of pull away a bit. But yeah, it was tough with only one set of with only being able to change one set of tyres. It made it pretty long stints, and by the end they were not very good.
And speaking of that one set of tyres, now we were all speculating who took what set when. Now, when did you take yours? We're going to assume it's the second set, but how did you feel? Like, when did you feel you needed those new tyres?
Yeah, definitely the second, because, you know, the first stint we could only go like 15 laps. So it would have been a long way from there. So I sort of split it into two halves, the race, and yeah, put my tyres on in the second stop.
Yeah, excellent. And you felt, so obviously, even though with those older tyres, the undercut on Gamble, so you definitely had a bit of pace there. Did you feel that when you were behind him, that you felt like you could get past, but obviously Belle was a hard place to pass, so you felt you could still get it done even without the new tyres?
Yeah, I did feel like I had a tenth a lap or a couple of tenths a lap on Scott. But I think, yeah, we must have put like different amounts of fuel in as well, because he ended up a few seconds behind. But then I was able to pull it away more after that as well.
Yeah, and finally, talk us through that late race safety car for you, mate. Was it just about maintaining position? Did you feel like having a crack at Jordan Ross? Like, what was your mindset heading in with just a few laps left to go to secure this thing?
Yeah, it was just try and hold on to second. I knew I couldn't stay with Jordan, so yeah, I was trying, but he had about half a second a lap on me there. I think in 4 laps he pulled 2 seconds on me, so there was no way I was staying with Jordan.
Well done tonight, Wayne. +3 on your starting position. Another podium for you this season, mate. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to shout out or thank?
Yeah, just all everyone who helps run the league, race control, all that. You guys for the broadcast. You do an amazing job every week. All of our sponsors, Abbey Timber, Primal Wheels, Box and Lock Narang, and Modern Deck. My team, Accelerate Sim Racing, and all my teammates for all their help as well. And yeah, congratulations to Jordan and Scott on the win and podium, and yeah, just all the other competitors as well. Because yeah, same thing. It wouldn't be possible without all them as well.
Beauty. Thanks, Wayne. Well done tonight, mate. And we hopefully be talking to you next week.
Thank you.
And finally, David, we'll bring in Jordan Ross, our race winner for the evening.
Well, congrats there, Jordan. Late safety car just to give you a heart attack.
Yeah, it was. I'd looked after my tyres in that. I had a bit of a gap, so I looked after my tyres. So I was pretty confident that after the safety car would be sweet. But you never know. You never know if someone behind you is going to go for a big dive. But yeah, it was all under control there. After I got a really good jump off the on the restart and got a little gap, and yeah, it was good.
So what was your strategy thinking going into this race then, knowing that the lay of the land was slightly different than usual, and racing on a street circuit always comes with its own strategy complications anyway?
Yeah, when you're the leader, you sort of, and I had a little gap over Sean at that point, you sort of got a little bit of luxury to just wait and react to what everyone behind you does. I'm a bit surprised Sean didn't try something in that first stop. Like if I was Sean, I probably would have underfueled and just got in front of me and tried to race me and draw me into, a race with him. But yeah, he was really nice to me. So thanks, Sean. Sort of let me go a little bit. That middle stint, yeah, we were separated by 8 seconds or something, and we were all just driving around until the last stop. I'm not sure what happened to Sean. I have to go back and have a look. Not sure what happened to him in that last section, whether he took not enough fuel. I don't know. I have to speak to him. But anyway, it was a good race. You had to concentrate a lot around this joint. Yeah, one little slip up and you're in the wall.
Yeah, we're not sure either quite what happened there. I think Scott Gamble was guessing that short on fuel was the likelihood, and that makes the most sense. And in the battle between yourself and Sean McNamara, our sums has closed you guys basically within 1 point.
Oh, cool. That's cool. It's on. Let's go.
Point towards the end, I think, when you took the fastest lap of the race away from him, and that basically leveled it up.
Yeah, that's cool. So who's in front, him or me?
I don't know incident counts yet to completely have but it came from I think 11 points apart down to ±2.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's I don't know, what's there, 5 rounds left or something. So yeah, it'll be a fun last few rounds for sure. Can't wait.
That's the spirit. Thanks for stopping by. Who do you want to thank?
No, just all the competitors, and yeah, everyone's doing a mega job out there, and it's a long race around this track, so congrats everyone. And also you guys for turning up every night, every Thursday night, and putting this on. And obviously the organisers of the series and everyone involved. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Very, very interesting race from Belle, Isle, Jordan Ross getting championship defense right in the thick of it, calculating to the best of our understanding the bonuses now post-race. Sean McNamara will hold on to the lead by 2.
Wow. That is, that's tight, isn't it? That's tight. And we talked about how tight the points are in this championship, and we're midpoint, and already it's going to be on for the next 5 rounds.
Fantastic. Cannot wait. You'll see all of it here on SimSpeed TV. Thank everyone that makes RaceKraft V8 Vets possible as we head to Sandown next week. You won't have to commute far, Brocky, but I think you're busy.
Unfortunately, I will be out for an event with my brother, but I'm sure we'll have a very suitable replacement for the night to go to my local racing track, which I am disappointed to be missing, but Sandown usually throws up an absolute banger of a race with the V8 Vets Championship.
I'm going to put my weight in the driver of the day conversation now behind Robert Crisdale.
Look, I think I've got to agree with you there, David. Last round out, Crisdale was involved in some heavy battles and kept it pretty clean. And this round, he's been very strong yet again. Plus 13 to the track. That's hard to pass that and keep clean. I reckon he is our driver of the day, our M1 used cars driver of the day.
There you go. It goes to Robert Crisdale for round 5 from Belle Isle, the M1 used cars driver of the day. Robert Crisdale, him and his teammate Mark Poynton, hunting in packs at times, moving up through the field. And they won't have to wait long to go racing again at Sandown. RaceKraft Simulations V8 Vets, supported by Logitech G, Nova Sim Sports, Parramatta Isuzu Ute, Player One Sim Gear, LGC Images, M1 Used Cars, and SimSpeed. I've been David Haynes. That's been Brock Cadday, Daniel Yeaman in the production. We'll catch you next week.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.